Alright, so the part's cut off. You'll notice immediately how there are some burrs here. Not only are they very sharp, but it doesn't add anything to our accuracy. And this is just a common, I'll call it a side effect of the sawing process. You're going to get, or any kind of machining process, you're going to get some level of burring. So we're going to go ahead and fix that right now. Over here, can't really see the rack very well, but at least you'll know that there's a handful of files over here. You're going to go through those lessons, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with it. But I just want to show you a couple techniques for deburring your part and also doing some filing. Okay, so a couple methods. First of all, you could use it in your hand and you can try to push on here, but this ends up being dangerous because as you're trying to get rid of the burr, sometimes you put a little extra pressure and you can nick your fingers and such. So I don't recommend that. As a matter of fact, I don't want to see that in class. But what we're going to do here is we're going to use our vise. We're going to put this in here and secure it. I secured it at somewhat of an angle here, may be hard to see, but this allows me to get kind of at a 45-degree angle from this surface and this surface to be able to work on that burr. And what I'm doing is just applying moderate pressure, and as you can see, a couple swipes there, and it has taken that burr off very quickly. And if you also notice too that this surface here, it may not be easy to see, but it has a very even file line on there, so I'm not putting too much pressure over here or there, and all I did was take that burr off so I couldn't catch it with my fingernail on either direction, and that's essentially what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this because I'm going to make it as ergonomically correct for me as possible. It makes it simple. I'm going to feel the file sitting flat, and then I'm going to make smooth strokes using my fingernail to identify whether or not I have a burr. Flat, smooth motion, feel for burrs. If I have a burr here and not here, I'll typically tip it down a little bit to try to wipe that out. And we're going to do the last edge for these video purposes here. Alright, so depending on where you're coming into this project, there's also a component of this where we're doing some flat filing. So essentially what we need to do is get all those saw marks out of here. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up or not, but I just want to go over very quickly how one would do something like that. And the first thing is putting your flat file down on here and feeling where it's touching the surface as a whole, and then trying to maintain that level so you're not tipping, and actually start taking some file cuts. So another trick is that when you're filing, going against where the lines are is very important, because when you do that, it just illuminates everything that was filed. So therefore, you can see very easily what hasn't been filed. All right, and essentially, you keep working at this, trying to keep it as flat as possible, watching your lines. Okay, as you're doing it, and what you're ultimately looking for is to get that completely smooth and take out those marks. Now, while we're doing that, in the course of doing that, we're also going to want to check things like squareness, and this is the way that would be done. Okay, so essentially, you're going to be looking at this surface here. I'm not sure how much you can see, but when I'm looking at this, it doesn't look too bad, but the idea is that this right here is even all the way across and you don't see any light there. Okay, so we covered two things very quickly, flat filing and how we actually start getting those lines out. It takes a lot more work than that, and then also deburring, which are both very important to this project.